Hi, I'm Ellie, and welcome to your weekly theatre news recap. The show where there's too much theatre news. There's just too much. There's too much. Everything was announced this week. We had the backlog of Christmas just spill over, and everything got announced. So if you want to stay up to date with UK, London, and touring theatre, make sure you hit subscribe and like this video so I do more, and so my sanity can be less hurt by the fact that I've got to go through like 20 different shows castings. I do it because I love it. Anyway, let's just jump straight into it because otherwise this video is going to be 50 hours long. Starting this week with casting as we always do, Guys and Dolls is the first show up. We have the cast now for the upcoming cast change, which is happening at the end of February. I still haven't seen the show, and I want to because I will. So I've got to go and see this cast change, and I've got to see the current cast as well before they leave, which is going to be chaos, and it's going to be so much Guys and Dolls. This is the year for me and Guys and Dolls. My end of year recap is just going to be Guys and Dolls, probably. But let's walk through this cast. I'm wasting so much time. This is the problem with me in this series. I just go on a ramble, but that's why you love it. Anyway, casting. First up, Owen Arthur is going to be returning to the role of Nathan Detroit. He took over for Daniel Mays for like a short period of time last year, and he's returning to take on the role full time. Tamika Ramsey is taking over the role of Miss Adelaide. John Ironandez is going to be playing Sky Masterson. Jonathan Andrew Hume is going to be playing Nicely Nicely Johnson, and that's a Come From Away alum. Jonathan Andrew Hume is a Come From Away alum, and if you know me, you know that I make sure that I support my Come From Away alums whenever they go on to do other things, because I am obsessed with Come From Away. Ryan Pigeon is going to be playing Benny Southstreet. Tori Scott is going to be playing General Cartwright. Niall Buggy is going to be playing Arvade. TJ Lloyd is going to be playing Rusty Charlie. And Deshaun Vegas is going to be playing Harry the Horse. Having these names out of context, not having seen Guys and Dolls before, is very funny to me. But I'm excited. And the ensemble casting is going to be in the description down below, as it always is, because I'm very good at keeping that going. I'm not. If it's not there, please remind me, because I always forget. Anyway, really easy casting news next. What about you? The concert is happening at the Theatre Royal Drury Lane from the 25th to the 26th of March. It's already announced that it was starring Will and Grace star Eric McCormick, but now we also know that West End star Oliver Thompson, star of Pretty Woman, We Rock You, In Dreams, will be joining this concert staging. Very exciting. I don't know if I'm going to be able to go see What About You, but I'm sure it's going to be a great new musical. Next up, we have the full cast for Next to Normal transferring from the Donmar into the West End. And guess what? Our prayers have been answered, baby. The entire Donmar cast has come back. Casey Levy, Jamie Parker, Eleanor Worthington Cox, Trevor Dion Nicholas, Jack Afrizio, and Jack Wolf have all announced that they will be returning to this show. This is amazing. This is perfect. This is exactly what we wanted to see. If we had to wait this long to get Next to Normal into the West End, I'm so glad it's with the perfect cast, because this cast are so perfect, and I'm so excited to go and see the show when it returns to the West End in June. Next up, we have some really, really exciting casting from the Addams Family concert. This concert is happening on the 12th and 13th of February, and we have our cast. Now, I don't know if I said it when they announced their first few cast members of the show, but I said, at least to friends, that I really wanted to see a transfester. I think with a concert staging like this, you can have some really interesting casting. And I think having a trans or non-binary festa would have been a really cool idea. I mean, already the role in the show is really, really queer-coded, so I was up for it. And guess what? This was the week for my prayers to be answered, because we have a trans non-binary Uncle Festa. So, let's walk through the full cast of the Addams Family concert, starting with Sam Buttery, who is going to be playing the role of Festa, Nicholas McLean, who's playing the role of Pugsley, Dickon Goff, who's going to be playing the role of Lurch. What's really interesting is he is one of a few returning cast members who actually did the tour version of this show only like a year or two ago. So this is really exciting to see him back. Sean Kingsley is going to be playing Mal. Ryan Copel is going to be playing Lucas. Cara Lane, another returning cast member, is going to be playing the role of Alice. And Chamisa Dawnford-May will be playing Wednesday. We have our ensemble as well, who will be in the description down below. I'm so excited for this. I'm so excited for this. I cannot contain my excitement to see a transvester. I just think that's so perfect. It's so beautiful. It's everything I wanted and more, and I'm so excited. And if you didn't think we were done with casting, we've still got like 50 different shows to talk about casting with. Next up, we have the cast for MJ, the long-awaited transfer from Broadway coming to the West End in March. We knew previously that Miles Frost would be reprising his role of Michael Jackson as he played it on Broadway, but now we know the rest of the cast. What's really interesting about this cast is there's a lot of alumni from Ain't Too Proud, which was only at this show at the same theatre a year ago. So that's really interesting. So let's take a look at this cast, starting with Ashley Zangaza, who'll be playing Joseph Jackson. His brother, Mitchell Zangaza, alumni of Ain't Too Proud, will be playing Michael. Philippa Stephanie is going to be playing Rachel. Phoebe Edwards is going to be playing Catherine. Matt Mills is going to be playing Barry Gordy. And Rohan Pinnock Hamilton is going to be playing Tito Jackson. We also have some ensemble members, some supporting actors who will all be in the description down below. Yes, I mean, picking out a few names from this ensemble as well. You have Christopher Go-Paul, who was in Ain't Too Proud. You have Symeon Montague, who's in Ain't Too Proud. Like, there's a lot of alums in here from Ain't Too Proud, and I'm glad that we're still getting some Ain't Too Proud representation at the Prince Edward Theatre. Moving on, we have some more cast members for opening night, the show that's going to be starring Sheridan Smith, a new musical that's opening at the Gielgud in March, and the rest of the cast members are as follows. Benjamin Walker, who's going to be playing the role of Maurice. Rebecca Thornhill is going to be playing the role of Kelly. Scylla Sylvia, that's a fantastic name. That just rolls off the tongue. Scylla Sylvia, that's a drag name. Please welcome to the stage, Scylla Sylvia. I love that name. She's going to be playing Carla. Ian McClarnon is going to be playing Leo. And Joss Slovic is going to be playing Gus. I'm really intrigued about this musical. I really don't know much about it. I haven't seen the film that it's based on either. So, I'm waiting. And I am waiting. And next up, we have the cast for Faith Healer, which is going to the Lyric Hammersmith from the 14th of March to the 13th of April. These cast members are Declan Collin as Frank, Nick Holder as Teddy, and Justin Mitchell as Grace. Another show that I know literally nothing about. But there you go. That's his casting. And I've saved this one for last because we have 8 different shows to talk about in one go. We got all of the casting at once for every single show that's happening at MT Fest this year. I need to save my sanity. I can't go through every single cast member. This video is going to be 5 hours long. So how I'm going to do this is I'm going to move up. I'm going to move over here. I'm moving up. And then I'm going to put all of the names here. They're going to appear right here. I'm going to talk through the shows a little bit, and they're going to appear right here. So I don't need to say them. I may pull out a cast member or two, but you can see them. First up, we have the cast for a Jaffa Cake musical. What's really interesting about a lot of these shows is that they actually feature the writers in the shows themselves, which is quite typical for a workshop performance, which a lot of these are. I mean, all of these are. Next up, both the new show that's being written by Declan Bennett and Olivia Broadfield, which very interestingly has also cast Declan Bennett in the show. Tit Swingers, another one that has cast one of the writers in the show. Honestly, this one's the one I'm most excited for. This is the one where I'm like, yes. This is the fruity pirate one. This is the gay pirate one, and I'm here for that. Next up, Plastered. This has a really interesting cast member. If you look at the director, Jerry Zaks, that is a big Broadway director. And if you look at this cast, you'll notice that Rory O'Malley is coming over from Broadway to be in this workshop production. You can tell that behind this show, there's some money. There's some big producers already. There's a lot of you can clearly tell when you're looking at this cast that they're thinking about the future of this show. I wouldn't be surprised if this is one of the ones that comes back very quickly, especially seeing as they've already brought a Broadway star over to be in it. Those are all the ones at the other palace. We can move on to the Turbine Theatre, where we have Romy and Michelle, Here's the cast with Romy and Michelle. Laura Baldwin is a really exciting name in this one. I'm very excited to see Laura Baldwin. I haven't seen Laura Baldwin in something since like Waitress, so I need to go back and see that one. I need to see her. Elliot Clay's show, Bling. Here's the casting for that one. Really cool names here too. Redcliffe, another show where the writer of the show is in the show, which makes sense because the writer of this show is Jordan Luke Gage. I mean, it kind of just makes sense, doesn't it? But a really cool casting here, including Rebecca Locke, who I am a massive fan of. I love Rebecca Locke. Next up, The Garden, another show where the musician, book writer, and lyricist is in the show itself. There you go. That's all of your MT Fest casting. I hope you read those names. I hope you read those names because I think I would have been here for 5 years if I had read the names myself. Now we can finally, after 10 minutes of this video, we can finally move on to our miscellaneous news. Thankfully, there's less miscellaneous news this week. The two really cool, exciting things happening this week is that we got the dates for West End Live this year, which is going to be happening on the 22nd to the 23rd of June. It's a really exciting free event for you to go and experience some live performances and some really exciting theatre. And if you can't go, they post all the performances online. So it's a really nice way to get in touch with what's currently on in the West End, to really engage yourself in theatre. And if you can't always afford loads and loads of London trips, this is a great day to plan it for so that you can get the most out of your time in London. And another really cool news is that Shucked, the Broadway musical, is going to be adapted to film. This is being made by Mandalay Pictures, and I'm quite intrigued by this. I think that I'm very fussy when it comes to my like musical films, and you'll see this when I review Mean Girls. You'll see this when I review Me. I'm very, very fussy and very, very picky. But I think Shucked could maybe work. I think Shucked could work. I don't know if this is the reason or one of the reasons why the West End transfer has been pushed back so far, because we are apparently not going to get the show here in the West End until like winter 2025. So maybe they're planning to release the film before that. Maybe they're already working on it and already like putting it together. And maybe they're trying to like plan those happening around the same time. That's just a theory. Theatre theory. Thank you for watching. Hi, I'm literally editing this video right now, and I'm not waiting a week to announce this. So you've got one more miscellaneous news this week. Frozen has announced today that it will be closing in the West End. They've given a final extension to the show, so you've got a nice long time to go and see Frozen before it leaves the West End. It is going to be continuing in the West End, and it is booking until the 8th of September 2024, when it will be closing in the West End. It's a really hard job to sell the Theatre Royal Drury Lane, and like the costs of Frozen and everything means I'm not overly surprised that it is closing, but I'm sure that this show has got a beautiful future ahead of itself with tours. I mean, they've just taken Aladdin on tour, and like that's already doing a really successful run. I'm sure this is not going to be the last time we're going to see Frozen. And I really love that, especially in a time where we're seeing a lot of shows close early and close like really close to the actual closure announcement. It's really nice to see a show actually announce that and be able to like finish out a run and be able to finish out and have like 6 months left to celebrate its time in the West End. So while it is sad to see Frozen go, it is really nice that we're going to be able to properly say goodbye to it. Anyway, back to me about 10 minutes ago before this news came out. And that's all your miscellaneous news. Very quick, very easy, very breezy this week. And now we can talk about transfers and new productions. This is where this week got wild. This week got wild. First up, Oedipus. There is a new production of the Greek play Oedipus heading to the Wyndham's Theatre for a run starting in October 2024. This production is going to be starring Leslie Manville and Mark Strong. There's no details for how long this production is going to run for yet, but it's very exciting. Next up, we have Oedipus. Again, two Oedipuses, two Oedipi. On a very interesting twist on Thursday night, we got something really rare. At about 6:30, when most of the PRs have stopped working, we got a press release about the previous production of Oedipus that I just mentioned. And then about half an hour later, we got an announcement that the Old Vic is also doing Oedipus, starring, and they got some good cast members here, Rami Malek and Indira Varma. Two big actors. What I think is quite clear that happened here is that two different producers decided to do Oedipus, and it just happens that they're happening at very similar times. The second Oedipus, the Old Vic Oedipus, is happening a little bit later. This is going to be happening in January 2025. There is potential, because we don't know the dates of the October run, there is potential that this could have a slight crossover, depending on how many weeks the first Oedipus has, but we don't know this yet. But it's really, really interesting to see both of these productions announce it pretty much after the usual time you would announce a big production on the same day. There is clearly some behind-the-scenes drama. I think you can assume that potentially maybe both of these productions found out about each other at a similar time and had to kind of rush into announcing things before they were quite ready to, especially because the Old Vic hasn't even announced things happening before Oedipus right now. They haven't even announced things happening in the middle of the year. So you can kind of tell that something was rushed here and that there's been some drama behind the scenes. But the day this happened was a really interesting day in the theatre community, as people were just wondering why there were two Oedipuses. There were some hilarious jokes on Twitter. I don't go on Twitter much, but when I did, I saw some great jokes. So if you love Oedipus, next year is going to be a great year for you. Also at the Old Vic next year, we have Machinal. I'm realizing now I don't know how to pronounce this word. Mackinac. Sophie Treadwell's classic play, however you pronounce it, because I apparently can't, will be opening at the Old Vic this spring. Rosie Sheezy is going to be leading the Old Vic run, which is going to be playing from the 11th of April to the 1st of June 2024. Next up in news, we have A Night with Janis Joplin. This is going to be playing the West End later this year, with Tony Award nominee Mary Bridget Davis reprising the role, having played it on Broadway and in subsequent tours. This is a show that celebrates Janis Joplin and her biggest musical influences, including Aretha Franklin, Etta James, Nina Simone, and audiences will enjoy Joplin's favourites, including Piece of My Heart, Cry Baby, and Me and Bobby McGee. This is going to be playing a limited run at the Peacock Theatre, which is why I put it in air quotes, because yes, this theatre is in the West End, but it's not counted as one of the 39 West End theatres. It's weird. We don't have as set rules as Broadway does, so a lot of theatres can claim that they are West End, and you can give fair judgment, and you can give fair reasons why they could be considered a West End theatre, but they're not technically a part of the 39. But the Peacock Theatre is a theatre in the West End, if you're talking about the area of London, nonetheless. It's going to be there from the 20th of August to the 28th of September, which is very exciting. As well as this, we are getting a new version of Instructions for a Teenage Armageddon. This is a one-person show which played at the Southwark Playhouse, I think it was 2021. It's been a little while since we've seen this show, and it's finally getting a West End debut, and this is so exciting. Starring Bridgerton star Charifa Chandran, who is going to be making her Broadway making her West End debut as well. This is going to be running from the 17th of March to the 28th of April at the Garrick Theatre. I'm really interested about this show. I didn't manage to see it. I didn't manage to see it when it was at the Southwark Playhouse. And I think it's really exciting, and I'm really hoping that I can catch it now. Next up, we got previously announced that The Mind Mangler would be coming to the West End, and now that we know that unfortunately Time Traveler's Wife is closing early, they announced this week that The Mind Mangler will be filling in that little slot, and playing at the Apollo Theatre from the 14th of March to the 28th of April 2024. This show is another in the long line of Mischief shows. It's been taken a little bit from their previous show at the same theatre, Magic Goes Wrong. It's a really exciting production. I'm really interested to see it. They've been working on it. They started at the Fringe with a 1-hour version. They took it off Broadway and extended it and made it even bigger. And so I'm ready to see this. And finally, after 33 hours of theatre news, we are at the final news story this week, and this is a big one. We are getting a London revival of Kiss Me Kate. This production is really exciting for many reasons, which I'll go through now. This is another production by Trafalgar Theatre. They have a really good relationship with the Barbican Theatre, which is where the show is going. And they put a show in there every single year during a very specific summer slot. But it's the casting of this that has got me really excited, because this show is starring Adrian Dunbar and Tony Award-winning icon of theatre, star of stage, icon of the moment, Stephanie J. Block. I couldn't go to Stephanie J. Block's concert, and I was so mad. I was so mad because one of my key wants in this world is to go and see Stephanie J. Block live, see her perform in a show. I want to see it. And now I can tick off that box. I can tick off that box. I can tick her name next to Andrew Rannells, next to Jeremy Jordan. I can tick it off. I'm so excited. I'm so excited for this. This is getting a 15-week run starting on the 4th of June and concluding on the 14th of September, which lines up quite nicely to what we saw the previous year's Trafalgar production get, which was A Strange Loop. This is about the time frame that they normally get. I'm so ready for this. I am so ready for this, and I am going to be there no matter what. So that's all your news this week. There's so many news stories that you could pick from, but what's your favorite this week? What are you most excited for? Let me know all of your thoughts in the comments down below. If you did enjoy this video, please consider hitting like and subscribe. It really helps me. It helps out the channel. Here's some links to my videos on screen right now, and a link to my Instagram if you want to drop me a follow over there. But that's it for me today, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.